Well, the House and Senate are on a collision course over an important spending bill to keep the government from shutting down. Speaker Pelosi says the House will vote on her bill this week, but Senate Leader Mitch McConnell says it doesn't include a White House request to give more help to farmers. Will the stalemate lead to another government shutdown? Joining us now, frequent advisor to the president, Stephen Moore, chairman of the FreedomWorks Economic Revival Task Force. Stephen, how do you read this? Where's this going to end up?
Well, Pelosi wants to spend a lot of money, but she doesn't want to spend the money on the kinds of things that Trump wants. And he does want to give relief to farmers, so they're at a standstill. I don't expect a government shutdown. I think that would be, on the eve of a election, I don't think that would be a very good thing for either party to do. People would be disgusted by it. But, we've already spent this year in the trillions of dollars. We've spent $2 trillion in aid for coronavirus. So we're looking at a budget this year that could eclipse, $6-7 trillion, something we've never seen before in the history of this country. And at some point, you just got to say, stop spending money, that the spending is actually having a more negative effect on the economy than a positive effect.
Yeah, and you wonder when unemployment gets down below 10%, it's like, well, people are getting back to work. In fact, Stephen, at the end of next month, we're going to get a print from the GDP in the second quarter that's going to be record-breaking, isn't it?
You better believe it. So right now, if you look at the latest forecast for the GDP, by the way, the third quarter, as you know, ends at the end of September. So that means that we're 2 weeks out from having completed the quarter. But so far, if you keep track of these numbers, we're looking at somewhere between 28 and 35% GDP growth. That's a blockbuster. I mean, we've never seen anything like that in the history of this country. So if that comes in, by the way, that number would come in a couple of weeks before the election. That's a pretty nice October surprise for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think will help him in what he calls the Great American Comeback. Now, I don't want to be naive. We know that that's happened partially because of what happened with the shutdown. So I don't want to ignore that, which leads me to this question. Do we need another stimulus check? Do we need extended unemployment? Do we need more loans to small businesses?
My answer is no.
Okay.
We've as I just said, we've already spent $2 trillion. The economy is healing pretty well on its own. Now, you're right. We're not out of the woods whatsoever, because even though we're having a 30% GDP growth, we lost, 40% of our GDP in the first half. So, we went through a severe economic drought. But I will say this. I think the idea of just continuing to spend money at a time like this is the debt. The debt is going to go over $25 trillion. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
$25 trillion in debt. And at some point, you just have to say, wait a minute. The debt that we're leaving to our children is significantly worse for the economy than all of this spending. And I think that's sort of the way Donald Trump sees it, too. He does want some aid to those businesses. He does want to get some money into the hands of individuals to help them out financially. But Pelosi is requesting $500 billion plus for blue states like New York, California, New Jersey, Illinois, and Trump is rightly saying, no, that's not fair to the states that have already balanced their budgets.
Stephen, let me ask you about, we know that Joe Biden wants to raise the corporate rate, tax rate. We know he wants to raise the highest rate on high-income people. But isn't there also something in real estate where he wants to get rid of the process by which you can take a 1031? You can take money that you make off a real estate sale, and you and I could go out and put that down on another house, maybe a bigger house that we've always wanted to get. But that's going to end up being taxed, as I understand it.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I have to say I've looked at that plan pretty thoroughly. And you're right. He wants to. What I do know is this: he wants to raise the capital gains tax from 24% to almost 40%.
Right.
You're right. He wants to raise the corporate tax from 21 to 28%. He wants to raise the individual income tax plus the payroll tax from right now it's like 37%. He wants to raise that to 51%. We haven't seen tax rates that high since Jimmy Carter was in office. And one other one, I thought you were going to ask me about this one, the death tax. He has a 40% increase in the death tax because longer. Yeah, he wants to get rid of something called the step-up basis on capital gains.
Right.
So you'd have to, if you inherit a stock from your grandfather, you'd have to pay all of that capital gains.
Right. If your grandfather bought the stock at 10 and now it's at 1,000, but you got it when it's at 1,000, you got to pay all that.
You're going to pay a whopper of a tax bill. Yeah.
Okay, well, unfortunately, my grandfather didn't leave me that, so that's the way it goes.
Too bad.
All right, Stephen Moore, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.